The contents of Frozen Horror were recently revealed, but what is the detail on the miniatures actually like? First, there's a couple more listings of this, found courtesy of Yezek, aka Blaze. And so there's a new reference code, as well as 2 other websites that are listing the game. One of these is Poromagia, which is a Finnish website, and it has the release date of Q3 2022 with an August estimate. That makes sense because August is also when Gen Con happens, and of course because it's not ready yet, the shipping costs are unknown. It says it is 39.91 euros, which translates to 42 US dollars. The other website is Blackfire. And this one doesn't have that much more information. It does have a description here, which I think is probably the same as one of the previous ones that I read. There was also a pre-order that popped up on Amazon.com, and Meeple's Corner in the UK. Now on to the exciting news. So I was just catching up on Ye Olde Inn, trying to see if I missed anything else besides that New Beginnings quest, and I found something very interesting. Hispazargon brought to my attention that Modena's Board Game Fest in Italy was shown boxes of samples of Frozen Horror, and that several Facebook groups posted pictures of it. I'll be showing you a picture in a bit, but we first have an exciting video to watch. This festival actually happened in May, but barely anybody is talking about the fact that we have Frozen Horror's contents right here to look at. While the description is in Italian, I have access to translate. After last year's autumn break, the Play Modena Game Festival is back to its classic spring appointment, with a hot edition, not only because of the great heat, but because of the enthusiasm of the 40,000 players who crowded the halls in 3 days. Within the spaces designed by set designer Gabriele Orifice, Hasbro Gaming hosted several HeroQuest demos led by the master of masters of the old school, Andrea Rossi, and a world premiere novelty, We Leave You at Your Service. One reason why Hasbro decided to go to this festival this year, as you can see by the captions, is that HeroQuest is the first dungeon crawler that they had in the country, and they're happy to bring it back in Italian just like they were when they initially brought it back in English. And they brought a super exclusive new preview, and that's Frozen Horror. You can see the box right there in person, and there he is, the big Frozen Horror. Now he's actually got some very good detail on him, and because it's not blurry, I can actually make out a lot more details as well. You can see not just his ribbed armor plating that overlaps, and the shields on his knees, but you can also see there's fur in behind there. He has various layers of belt and armor, fur coming from his hands. He has bracelets over top of that fur, like he was chained at one point. And his axe as well. It has these nice little spike things, and I assume that that's probably meant to represent ice. As well as cracks on the base too. It's not a standard base like the dwarf in the background here. It's actually specialized just for the Frozen Horror. Oh, and here's the dice as well. I think in my previous video I wasn't certain whether the dice would be clear or not, but it seems like the combat dice will for sure be of transparent plastic, and the movement dice are just solid blue. You can see that they're playing Frozen Horror right now because those are ice gremlins, as well as the fact that they're using the blue movement dice. There's the Frozen Horror hiding in the background, and we're going to get a close-up shot right now. So you can actually see the backs of these miniatures, and there was a lot of attention paid to the way that they look, because they look just as good from the back as the front. You can see a little seam there where he was put together, but if you really hate that, I'm sure you could fill it in with liquid green stuff or something. You have the same plates going down here as the front, his leg armor, and his axe from the back as well. The polar warbear is wearing shoulder pads that overlap his back, and a Yeti stretching over there. This is very interesting. The cards. That is a longbowman, it looks like. It was actually not translated into Italian. That's interesting that it's English right now. Ice Gremlin, Yeti, Frozen Horror, which we can see the stats now. 8 movement, 5 attack dice, 4 defend dice, 6 body points, 4 mind points. Then there's Halberdier. That looks like yet another mercenary, and one there as well. They're showing off more of the gameplay. And more cards. These ones are in Italian, so I couldn't be able to tell you which spells they are. They had a painting station here at this festival too, complete with Citadel painting pots. While editing, a post was put on Reddit with 3 other pictures to look at. This first one, there's not too much notable about it since we saw the actual game, except that we can see the female barbarian's card that has the same pose as the miniature, and the fact that these are probably real dice that they took a picture of just because these pips have like a printing error on it. Our second picture here is kind of interesting too. And the first thing that stands out to me is that the female barbarian's shield has some cool symbols on it. It looks sort of like serpents, and oh, her sword's actually sort of busted. Interesting. And yes, as you may have seen, some of these mercenaries are female as well, such as this one here with the shield, and that one there holding the giant axe, One more thing that stands out to me in this image is that these crossbow men look a little bit like Prince Charming. And our third image here is of all the wintry monsters. Because we saw the miniatures in real life, there's only a few things that stand out to me here. One of which is that the gremlins have little stitching on their tunics, same as the zombies' ripped jeans, and that the polar warbears have damage built into their armor. Now, the picture that I saw that was linked on Ye Olde Inn is this one, and the reason why I've shown it last is that something seems off about it. It seems in a way like things are too perfect, but yet at the same time, something like the frozen horror, the detail's just not on him. He looks too smooth and too airbrushed or something. And by too perfect, I mean look at this cardboard edge. You don't have one tiny remnant of where it would have been punched out. I'm wondering if this one's actually a digital image, especially too with how shiny this plastic is. You aren't going to get that much shine from the actual plastic, I wouldn't think. So before Gen Con even revealed it, we can now see some of the stuff that's in Frozen Horror. If you want to see more HeroQuest content, click the video on screen now. Thanks for watching, goodbye!